ghost ghouls, gamers, goblins. What's up? It's podcast 28 of the Overkill Podcast. I am Meta Knight DK, and I'm here with Kirby.
Yo, yo.
And special guest all the way from Antarctica, Zainiac.
I'm fucking frozen. Nice to meet you.
He's dead. He's a popsicle now.
Our first special guest ever.
Yes. Big names, big time. We brought him on because we're discussing something very near and dear to our hearts, as this did start out as a Call of Duty podcast. I know we haven't talked about Call of Duty in forever, so we're bringing it back. We are discussing the golden age of COD, which we've all agreed upon and agree that it's definitely Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, all the way up to Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
Unless anyone has any dispute on that one, I mean, I think that's pretty well decided.
Yeah, I know. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any qualms with that.
I object.
Objection.
But yeah. Overruled.
Objection. Infinite Warfare is the best game.
Oh, God.
It's actually Call of Duty Mobile.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
COD Mobile.
Did you know you can hook up a controller to Call of Duty Mobile?
Well,
it's pretty epic.
If you do, you should consider, unaliving yourself.
Sudoku puzzles.
Based.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get into it. COD 4, Modern Warfare. This one, I don't think Kirby and I have too much experience with. We played the remaster a lot more, but we played this one a little bit. What I remember this game for is just how, I don't know, I felt like it was like fairly balanced.
I'll tell you
And
what
it
I
felt
remember
pretty
it for.
good.
I remember it for Martyrdom.
Based.
The amount of
Yeah.
times dying from the Martyrdom, like, that grenade, dude. That was it.
Yeah, also, I played this game a lot with the remaster. And you say it's balanced, but I think the frag grenades were a little overtuned, as well as them having the frag times 3. Frag times 3 as a perk is just disgusting. And then also stun times 3 is just as annoying, just for a different reason, but yeah.
I forgot about times 3.
Yeah.
And then I think the maps too. Actually, if I had to rank a lot of the maps from this game, honestly, I'm thinking they're like pretty S tier, at least in my mind.
Yeah, a lot of the maps are solid, and a lot of them aren't 3-lane, which I think this is like one of the first games where they weren't. One of the like only games in the Call of Duty franchise where it has good maps, but they aren't 3 lanes. But...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a jump from COD 3, right? And if you ever played COD 3, a lot of the maps in that game were mostly just open buildings. They weren't designed for multiplayer, right? And Call of Duty 4 really kicked that off with having maps that were designed for multiplayer and a variety of gameplay, right? Whether that's sniping, whether that's taking a shotgun in close quarters. It had the elements that you could use in a game, because in the previous installments, it was pretty much you wanted some kind of explosive, and then you wanted either a marksman rifle or a sniper. That was it.
Base. Also, this is the first Call of Duty campaign where there's like actually memorable characters, because I feel like the first 3 you didn't have as many in this game. You got Soap, Captain Price, Zakhaev. You have a bunch of iconic characters, and I don't Maybe
Well,
I'm wrong on that.
I will say this. Well, consider why they are iconic, and it's because you have an installment of 3 games back to back to back that, you know, you had repetitive characters for the first time in the franchise. Because I don't know that people were thinking of during World at War about the characters in COD 4, right? Like it wasn't a thing that was in the back of their mind. But when MW2 came out and you had these same characters return, it was new for the first time, and obviously we saw this again with Black Ops. But I think that's why they're more so iconic, is because they expand a much longer time than a single year of a single game, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Based.
yeah, I think it does. It does have something to do with that. I also think it has something to do with the popularity. I mean, I know COD 1 through 3 did pretty well, obviously. But I'm almost certain that COD 4 probably broke all previous sales records at the time. I would almost put money on that. Actually, I would put money on that. And
Well, I think that trend most likely continued at least through till
Modern
Advanced Warfare, right?
So,
or Ghosts.
well,
And the only reason I say that is because Ghosts came out on the old and new generation of consoles, and that was a big hit because a lot of people that wanted to play couldn't, they couldn't play with their friends because it wasn't, cross-play. And even if you don't count that as cross-play, it wasn't cross-generational, right?
Yeah.
well,
But I'd be willing
yeah.
to bet that sales records did increase all the way up through Black Ops 2, only because of the amount of people that owning consoles and playing on the computer was most likely increasing. But then
and I think it's the game that like everyone got, like
Well,
with their
I think-
console.
yeah.
Yeah, I think as well, like, with Ghost, I think it had pretty similar sales to Black Ops 2, but it was obviously less. But I think that mainly comes down to the fact that it was released on, I believe, like 7 or 8 different platforms. Which obviously, helps. More stuff you can... Or more, I guess you can buy it twice as well if you were, upgrading at that time.
So, Zainiac, I guess going back to COD 4, because we didn't really play 3 all that much. I know we played it local a little bit, but
Yes.
do you think how big did like the perk system change up the game? Because I wasn't really there to experience it.
Well, it was, in my opinion, it was like it added a new air into the game that wasn't there before, right? Instead of just choosing a class and having a gun and a attachment and whatever equipment you now have something that can personalize the experience the way you want it to be, right?
Right.
Which is why COD 4 was such a huge success, because you have all these new elements in that were like truly new. They weren't just reinvented, but at the time they were new for the franchise, right? And I'll tell you what is the first thing I said that comes to mind when I think of COD 4? Martyrdom, right?
Right, yeah. Oof.
Arguably
That's
the most
such a shitty,
obnoxious, right? Like, you die, here's a grenade, eat shit, And I ate shit quite a lot to it.
Yeah. I remember Jug. I would say whenever I think of COD 4, I remember just shooting people way too many times because of how like prominent Jug was.
Yeah. But you
And-
also had stopping power that counter Jug, which I liked. I like how
Yeah.
that, like, dynamic, or like if you as an SMG player came up against another SMG player and you're both using Jug, you had like an actual gunfight, right, where you could move around and try to fake out the other person because they were longer, engagements than just like a few bullets, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, and I mean, well, and of course the name of our podcast comes from the Overkill perk, so yeah. I'm just looking over this wiki page, and something that I remember that I always thought was really cool is, so like the blue perk slot was always like it usually was like some multiple of like your equipment, like your grenade or like mags, or one of them just gave you an RPG, and and then the tier 2 was all like damage related, or kind of related to like a character buff. And then it always seemed like the green one's always a meme, because that's martyrdom, that's fucking dead silence, and the probably one of the most fun perks I thought was eavesdrop.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they would ever add that back in.
It's
but
a meme.
I think that's fucking cool.
It's
Yeah,
a meme
of
perk,
course.
but
Well,
I think
you say that, but
Not back then, right?
well, no, yeah, but that was part of one of, like, was it MW2?
I think it also had it in there.
Vanguard in the Warzone. It was.
Oh
wasn't
yes,
it? Yeah.
yeah. That was in Warzone.
yeah, it's in Modern Warfare
the
2,
death
but
chat
it was by default. It was by default. You could hear enemies. It wasn't a perk. It was just by default. You could hear
okay.
proximity chat, so you
that's
could hear
right.
someone like in the left or right of your ear, and you could kind of pinpoint where they were if they were talking in game. But that doesn't really work whenever everyone's using Discord. So
Yeah.
Discord. At it
Discord
again.
ruining everything. Ruining search and destroy, and ruining the best perk known to man.
Yeah, and then I think the green perk slot, I would always run extreme conditioning or deep impact, just because you can wallbang people easier, or if you want to like rush somewhere in search and destroy, you want to use extreme conditioning, obviously. So I liked how there was kind of a little bit of choice there. I just think those two perks were the best.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the game
Category.
mode you're playing, right?
It does, yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you're playing Search and Destroy, Martyrdom is not a great choice. But at the time of COD 4, I didn't play Search and Destroy. I was pretty much only into like TDM and Domination, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of game modes. So
Probably core too, right?
yeah, and Core. And so Martyrdom was actually a pretty good pick.
Yeah. Definitely. I liked Martyrdom, and MW3 was a little more balanced in that game, but it was just so much fun to just, because it was just fun to have people run into your stuff. But where I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Well, and like another thing that was cool is they had like double tap, right?
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is the same as zombies, but you could equip it to your LMG class, and like there are some pretty like memeable things in COD 4 that you don't really see repeated later on down the series.
Yeah. I feel like there are some things that they kind of should have kept. I really think like the map design in this game is like, honestly, it's one of the saddest things that they like kind of dropped going forward. But I think, to me, like, all the maps are really tight, and they all serve like a purpose. You have, bog for sniping. You have oh gosh, I don't know, you just have so many good maps, and they all serve like some specialized purpose, and I really like that. I don't think like modern COD maps hold any sort of like relation to these.
No, probably not. Well,
Rip. Showdown, shipment. Yeah. Oh, so good.
It's also, in my opinion, dependent on when you got into Call of Duty, right? So if your first exposure was at the like, COD 4, then you're gonna have like a fond memory of what you used to know, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like
sure.
I don't think that it necessarily has the best map design overall. Like there's definitely some great maps, but I still think we see fantastic maps that continue on within the series, right?
I think at least through the Golden Age. I know at Ghost the map design went completely out the window, and that's kind of where you ended up with like the more modern map design of like you don't have 3 lanes. There's no longer like clean circular maps. It's like there's like just so many changes in elevation and like different ways you can get shot. Like I don't know. The map design in Ghost is so chaotic.
I also
comparison.
think that a lot of that has to do with the intended market for the game, right? If you look at COD 4 to Black Ops 2, right, we're looking at 2007 and 2013, and they're targeted towards, like console casual players, right? Like it for people to have fun. Like there's not, I'm sure there was, but like esports weren't really big in 2013, right?
No, in
They
fact,
were
I missed
emerging.
Yeah, I missed
but-
that they weren't that big.
Exactly, right? Like, and so there wasn't a target to make the game competitive. And this lines up with not even esports as a like professional thing that's being done, but mostly as an artifact of allowing streaming for people to become competitive, to feel better or whatever about themselves. And everyone became good when, streaming became a thing and people, they care too much about it. And so the golden age is the age of enjoyment. And I think that's why it's looked on fondly, is because you weren't playing with tryhards all the time. Of course, did they exist? Yeah. They always did. They always will. However, the average person is the teen or the college age guy who's just trying to have fun for, 2 or 3 hours.
Yes, yeah. And I actually distinctly remember back then, there were some people I knew that would get made fun of if they played COD too much, at least like in school, which was interesting. I don't think that happens anymore today. I don't think kids get bullied for playing too much Fortnite.
Yeah.
No,
Right?
Yeah, no,
Like,
I made that observation kind of whenever I started playing Counter-Strike in like 2015. In Counter-Strike, people would like praise people who were really good, whereas like in Call of Duty, you would be made fun of if you were a tryhard. Usually,
yeah, completely different mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in this age. I would
and
agree. Like
that's
a
something I attribute to, largely as a whole Twitch, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to
YouTube.
stream.
I think
and-
YouTube
oh yeah,
too.
YouTube. Whatever.
Yeah.
Broadcasting yourself out in a grab to an audience that most likely won't be there unless you really are just like
Good.
that much better. And so everyone wants to be that. And no one really is. Like, yeah, if you grab 10,000 people and they all try, you'll probably get a few in there that can do something with it. But the vast majority aren't going to, because just being good at game doesn't make content,
No, there's like almost like a trinity or like a trifecta. I've always felt like when it comes to that, and you see this a lot more with League, of like, it depends on the game, but the trifecta is something like talent, I think like personality, and then I guess there's like a kind of like a third like random, I don't know, it factor, or like they're just people that like everyone gravitates to, and I don't know if that really has like a name, but somewhere in that like realm is like where you have to be, and especially in Like whenever COD popped off, I remember everyone making guides and everyone making like live commentaries, if you remember those, where people would just get on, they do really well, and they just BS the whole time. I don't what what a different time. Honestly, I don't know. It's so strange to go back and think about. But
well,
It was like, I think it's like there's like 3 stages of the internet as far as I see it. Whereas like the old internet, or like prehistoric, where it was like from 1995 to like 2005, and then 2005 to like
all right,
2015-ish or 2014.
Let's
You know,
make me feel too old here. Okay.
and then like I think
Come on.
ever since like
Old.
2014 to 2015, the internet's basically been the same every year. I don't know.
No.
There's too
Let me-
much regulations now. boys.
So, yeah, I will.
It needs to go back
say
to the Wild West.
You are correct with like regulations and change, and that has to do with technology and companies wanting control and advertising, wanting money, because
Yeah.
everything on the internet is driven by money, pretty much. However, I don't think it's as like staged as you think. You don't get from point A to point B by like falling off a cliff or by tripping and ending up 1,000 feet in the air. Like, it's a progress that goes from one side to the other. And I think if you looked back in the time and really knew where you were then and where it would be 10 years in the future, you could watch it degrade down into what it'll be. But much like the frog being boiled from room temperature, you don't know that it's changing until it's changed so much that when you look back, you're like, how did we get here? And you try to think back to the last time that you liked it or that it was bearable, and that's this quote unquote stage, but it's happened over time. There's no like instantaneous change. And you could call that with anything, really. I mean, we can look in Call of Duty as a whole and say, wow, why do things suck now or at some point in the past? And like, why has it changed, right?
Yeah.
It went to that point, and signs did lead there. But I think a lot of it has to do just with personal interpretation of the past, and then like a longing for a time that doesn't exist anymore. Because like I'll always look back on the golden age of COD and I'll be like, it was the perfect time.
yes,
But,
as you
I
sip
wasn't-
on your
yeah,
gamer fuel,
Yeah.
swirl
Like,
your gamer.
Well, yeah, as I follow my e-girls online, drink my G
Yes.
Fuel,
Yeah.
sponsor me, and start joking or something. Like there's
Do you
like,
remember the Cheetos or the Doritos and Mountain Dew? Now it's like G Fuel and like fucking, I don't know.
bring back the classics. Bring back coffee and a cigarette. That's all I ask.
Yes. Gentlemen, unless anyone has anything
Wow,
really pressing,
we went
I
off.
think
We did.
I think we can probably wrap up COD 4.
Oh yeah.
If we have anything else. I mean, everyone knows it was pretty good, and obviously it was the Wii version that made it that good. So,
Well,
Dude.
is that the only
Forgot about
version
the
you
Wii
played?
version.
what, the Wii?
Yeah.
No. I played the Wii version of Black Ops because our mom would not let us have Black Ops, and so I went out and snuck out and bought it one night, and I played like zombies till like 3 a.m. on the Wii.
That just sounds like hell.
It was kind of
Yeah, and
cool
he had
because
to
like you
hide
could
it
use the
from me.
controller to aim and stuff. Yeah, my mom said the rule was I had to hide it from Kirby, so that was the big rule. But yeah, I would say Black Ops was the first one I played, and I did play it on Wii like an animal.
Yeah, and we eventually
But
got
yeah.
to get us a 360 win, and that's where we joined the COD franchise with the MW3. But we'll get there anyway. Let's move on to World of War.
So COD 4, yeah, COD 4. We got the introduction of perks. We've got changes in the classes. We've got good maps, memorable characters.
Based.
Let's move on to World of War, boys. As everyone knows that's listening, this is obviously the World War One. Or no, is this two? No, this is
World
one,
War
right?
Two.
This is
World War II.
Yeah, this is the World War Two COD. And honestly, if you were thinking of martyrdom, I always think of the dogs for this one. The fucking
Alright.
German Shepherds. I don't know why. I feel
Wow.
like it's because everyone always got the German Shepherds.
As a game on whole, I'll tell
think
you what I think of is zombies.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I was
yeah.
gonna say. I think of the zombies. And I just think of the like creepy atmosphere this game has. Like that, you start it up, and it has that weird like creaking sound. Whenever you're in the
dude.
menu, and that like weird screams and stuff. It's actually a horrifying game. I don't know.
And Knocked, the intro to Knocked.
Oh yeah, true. Iconic,
Yeah. It was a fantastic game. It had a lot of new things, and like you said, they really did dive into like the mature aspect of the game. Like this is one of the first games that had like gore in the multiplayer, right?
Yes,
Like the zombie type gore in multiplayer.
You could like blow off legs and stuff. Yeah.
I remember the bouncing Betty, or the
Yes.
that it would like blow off your legs, and I remember as a 13-year-old being like, "Whoa, dude!"
Based.
Yeah, I obviously zombies, and another boomer take, but I love the maps in this game. Anytime any of the like future games added the zombies maps back in, it was like the only maps I ever wanted to play. I never get sick of them, and yeah, I mean I just love the zombies. I'll say too, I think one of the harder zombies games, because the zombies actually like hold you back whenever they hit you. They kind of like grip you for a second, so you can get since it's a 2-hit kill without Jug, you can get just whapped real easy.
Oh yeah, and my favorite is the zombies. Like, whenever they attack you, they like suck you in, and you like can't move. Whenever they're
That's
attacking
what I
you.
mean. Yeah,
It's like so weird.
It's like they grab your clothes or something. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. And the zombies is actually really hard in this game, because, especially for solo, because quick revive doesn't bring you back. Like, it doesn't allow you to revive whenever you're in solo, which is, makes it that much more harder. And a lot of Shino Numa in this game is like the best high round for zombies, because they only spawn 21 zombies, and the Wonderwaff kills all of that in like one shot. So
Yeah, I think that's some hardware limitation type
yeah.
things there going on there. Yeah, the zombies is great. Honestly, it's so simple. There's really not much to say. It was just good old fun of just fucking around, and yeah. I guess multiplayer wise, something I kind of oh, sorry, you have something on zombies?
No, I was gonna say for the multiplayer or something.
Yeah.
This was the first Call of Duty multiplayer to have vehicles on the big maps. So like on the maps that were, I believe CeeLo had tanks, and then Roundhouse was another one.
Well,
They both
I
had
mean,
tanks.
as of like modern COD, yeah, but COD 2 and 3 had tanks in multiplayer.
They did.
Mhm.
But
and jeeps and all that.
Oh, that's true. I forget. See, I
yeah. They're so old.
But
I just remember how janky they were.
I will say,
Yeah.
that is something that like we see in Call of Duty, and it doesn't return until when?
Black
We have
Ops
it-
3.
right? So
Black
you
Ops
have
3, yeah.
you have like these
one
vehicles
map.
and like quote unquote large maps, but exactly you have here back in 2008, and then you have how many years of a gap?
Yeah.
You have like a
7.
11-year gap before you get it back.
Rough.
I know. Or you
That's
said
tough
was
stuff.
it a Black Ops 3?
Yeah, Black Ops 3. It was because they
okay.
It's about,
remastered.
6
It's
years.
because they remastered one of the maps for the game, from World at War into Black Ops 3.
Yeah, 8-year gap.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
So
But I will say, other cool thing, flamethrower.
Base.
Oh,
Dude, yes.
yeah.
So I think this is one of the few COD campaigns that I actually played all the way through. Unfortunately, I don't remember it because it's been so long. But yeah, I think one of the only campaigns I ever played through, only because the World War II theming is fantastic, and I don't know. I just liked you got to. I'm pretty sure you played as the Japanese, the Americans, and as the Germans, right?
The Russians, I think.
The
I think
Russians.
he plays the
Okay.
Russians.
Yeah,
And this
he
is the
plays
first
Russians.
Call of Duty game. This is the first Call of Duty game where you have Viktor Reznov. You actually fight with him at the end of the last mission. And then, obviously, Viktor Reznov comes back in Black Ops 1. So this game sort of is like the precursor. And I believe it is, like, in the same universe as the Black Ops series. Because they're all made by Treyarch, so...
And Germany and Russia. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Honestly, solid game. I don't think this one was like as impactful as COD 4 was, but I think just honestly a solid game. I liked it. Deep
Yeah.
analysis.
I mean,
another
At the time it came out, like, and this is saying, like, in this golden age, there wasn't much in the way of competition, right? Like, you had Battlefield, but like Battlefield wasn't it a different environment, different game, different player base.
yeah.
This was really the only option, and it was new, right? COD 4 was new. World at War was new. Nothing really felt repeated until Modern Warfare 2, where you had similar elements of 4, right? And so for Call of Duty from 2003 pretty much up until 2009 had been a lot of like new innovation things. And I know you said, like World War II, that's cool and all that. At the time, World War II didn't seem that cool because Call of Duty historically has always been World War II.
World War II.
Other than Modern Warfare. But, when you're talking about the 7th installment in the series, including like cut-off stuff, and 6 of them are World War II, I don't know how much it truly stood out.
Yes.
As
yeah.
that being like a
Yeah.
factor. Now, if you're saying within the golden age, yes, and within modern COD, which in my opinion began with MW4, then yes.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, modern COD I think has to begin with MW4.
Yeah, I mean, that's when online gaming became a lot more accessible, especially due to the consoles, right? You consider the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 and launching games like MW4 on them to where people now have easy access to online, multiplayer, which was not necessarily the case with the Xbox or the PlayStation 2. And yes, did Live exist? Yes, obviously. There was online play. It was just not common. Right? Like, it was
Yeah.
LAN. You plugged in. They had some, like, abomination type like Wi-Fi adapter things, but for the most of use with anyone, if it was just offline play. And so I think that's what really defines the golden age of Call of Duty is you have the introduction of multiplayer on a wide scale. At least that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a 1,000,000%. And I kind of credit this because I think most people probably did miss a lot of like the older CODs, and so I know by the time that World at War came out, I'm certain there were a lot of new people that hadn't played like the World War II CODs as well, so that probably kept it from being stale. And I was just Googling it, and Bad Company, Bad Company 2, Battlefield Bad Company 2 didn't come out until 2010. So that's all the way whenever Black Ops comes out. And Battlefield 3 is whenever MW3 came out. So so they're not even competing with like Battlefield yet. I think over time as people got more tired of COD.
I'm saying Battlefield exists, but not Bad Company 2.
No, not like a more modern Battlefield.
It's also interesting to note that COD 4 is when the series shifted to a M rating, because it was always teen before that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, to me, it's just crazy how like back in the day, almost every game, not just Call of Duty, but like there are so many World War II like shooters. I think the only like different ones, I guess, would be like Battlefield and Counter-Strike. Those are like the only modern ones besides COD at that time.
Yeah.
Well, boys.
Then everyone copied COD and made their games like modern, and then that kind of trend died off.
Yeah. I think one more aspect we missed in this too is like I don't think the maps were like as great in this game for multiplayer. I think really what everyone did love this game for was definitely the zombies.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but it was a different engine, right?
Yeah.
So it felt different.
It felt different. It played different, felt different, right? You pull up any Treyarch game or Infinity Ward, and even if it was gameplay, same model, same stuff like that, you'd know the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was like pretty noticeable, because the game being built in a more modern engine was it was interesting. I liked it. I'm a fan of the Treyarch engine for sure.
One more thing on the maps. I don't know if this is the first time they did it, but this is the first time that I know. They had the map variants where you had make and day and then you had make and night. And it's just a lighting change, but I always liked how it's like the same map, but you get a little bit of like visual variety in there.
Yeah, and it's sad. I don't think we see that repeated, actually.
You don't see it repeated until like I think Black Ops 4, but that was the only game they ever did that with.
Which is kind of sad, because it's a pretty easy thing to do, like respectively. I mean, you do have to have the map designed in a way that you need lighting inside buildings for when it's night or whatever, but it's still a really cool and ultimately like particularly easy thing you could do to add more content to a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just make it a little more spicy. Like, give it a little more replayability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think that's something that whenever we switched over to Battlefield for a while, that was something that I always valued. Is a lot of the maps always had like a nighttime version and like a daytime, And then in some of the other games, like a Dusk and a Dawn version, even. So.
Or my favorite was how, like, you would start out the map, and then, like, the waves would get crazy, and then a storm would come in, and it would start raining. And so it was like the map would start out kind of peaceful, and then, like, as the battle went on, up to the climax of the end of the match, it would go into, like, a rainy storm, almost a hurricane. It was kind of cool in Battlefield 4, at least.
Isn't this the game with one of the few raining maps in it?
Which one?
COD 4 had that raining map.
COD 4 had
COD 4 had the greenhouse.
Downpour.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had downpour and it had a wet work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. My memory is pretty bad when it comes to raining maps because I don't like them. But well, downpour is the map that I'm thinking of with the greenhouse. Yeah. Well, boys. I guess for the sake of keeping it moving, probably the one that Kirby and I have the least experience with.
The Big Boom.
Yeah. For some reason, we really skipped over this one. But Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, we missed it.
Tragic.
Well,
That's
we got in right at Modern
We came
Warfare
back
3
and we played. I think we came back and we played War of the Ore and
It ain't
Modern
the
Warfare
same.
2. But yeah, it was hacked by
Yeah.
the time we played it, I believe.
I mean,
Yeah, it was
MW2 at launch, such a good game. I mean, they had like just very classic maps. I mean, let's look at today with
They keep
Modern Warfare
remaking
2
them.
remade. I mean, like they're still there, right? If
They
they
never
sucked, yeah, they wouldn't do it if they weren't good. There's a lot of cool things. Like you have Terminal. I think in MW2.
In fact, I'm sick of them.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
They get reused so much. I'm sick of them. You've got Rust. You've got
Rust,
Scrapyard. You've got
Scrapyard.
Terminal.
You've
got
story,
Classic maps.
everything. And the biggest thing that came with MW2 was the and you guys obviously missed out on this. Well, no, the quick scope and the no scope meta. 360 no scope. Yeah, that's this age, right?
Yeah.
Wall banging people, doing cheesy builds to take advantage of game mechanics. That started with this game in the Call of Duty
The
franchise.
noob tubes.
Well, yeah, noob tubes and one man army, right? Like, what do?
Yeah.
Noob tube, change, boom, another one, right?
Yep.
And so, like, you'd start the
Absolute
beginning of the
apes.
map.
It's the new
And
frag
I think-
times 3.
Exactly. Everyone's seen the video of the guy who gets a nuke on, I
Yeah.
think it's Overgrown, and he gets a nuke
It
on
is.
Overgrown in like 30 seconds, right?
Yes.
And-
yeah. That is cancer.
There's, understanding like map boundaries is one thing, but yeah, that's ridiculous. And beyond that, have there's just a lot of new game mechanics, right? The nuke, that was freaking cool. The
nuke.
EMP, that was really cool. Having electronics that can get globally disabled. There's just a lot of new mechanics. Heartbeat sensor, seeing people. Well, and I think that was in MW4 too. But there's just a lot of things, and the perk system had a full 2 years to change, right, from Modern Warfare with an Infinity Ward's perk system.
Yes, yeah.
And they found out, like, okay, well, let's not add double tap, let's not add some of these
Took out a
choose your
lot of
things,
the-
and let's make
And
it.
also, they added the pro perks in this game, which I
Yeah.
always thought was cool.
You can
it just
pro
adds
perk.
a little bit more of a progression.
Yeah, and it's
loop.
it's a cool thing, with like prestiging in the game and moving up and giving people more to do, right?
So I think we forgot to mention this in World at War II, but this was a game where you could pick your kill streaks as well, and I don't think that
Yes.
came into World at War.
No,
So
No,
picking your kill
World at
streak
War-
did come out World of War, right?
yeah,
no,
yeah,
World
it
at
came in
War.
World
No,
at
no,
War.
no, 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 no.
What?
Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare had the UAV, the
couldn't pick
airstrike and the helicopter, right? World at War instead had UAV, artillery
Dogs.
strike,
And
dogs.
Oh,
Right?
Okay.
This game was
okay,
the first
okay.
game where you could choose what you wanted.
Ah,
I think the
that's
only
huge,
problem
I think.
the
But-
only problem I would change was I think the nuke should always be your 4th kill streak, and you should have a 3rd one instead. But
Well,
Yes.
the nuke wasn't. I mean, obviously, the nuke was a kill streak, but the nuke wasn't a kill streak that you chose. You know that. A nuke came with
No, you
30
had to choose
consecutive.
it.
No, you didn't.
no, you had to choose it. I'm telling you, you had to choose it in this one. I know for a fact you have to choose it. I'll show you a video of it.
It says it's hidden.
Oh yeah, no,
in
you're right. I think you do
online
have to
Cold
choose
War.
it.
Yeah, so I think you actually do. You actually did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so you
I
had
forgot
to-
you had to pick it in this one.
Usually,
That's-
what you would do is you do Harrier, chopper gunner, nuke. Is I believe the meta.
That makes sense.
But like, here's the thing. It really should be a 3rd perk, or a 3rd kill streak, because if it is a 4th, then like you're almost
Well, you would have to
guaranteed to get it.
rebalance, I think.
Well, yeah,
right?
a nuke would have to be like 50 kills then.
Yeah, if you kept the same balance of the kill streaks, yeah.
But I think that's the thing you like wager with a nuke, right? You say like, hey, okay, I want to use a nuke, and that ends the game, right? Like you just win.
Yeah, it's just a free
So if you're doing that, it's fair that you don't get another kill streak, you know? that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. I think it ended the game. Did it end the game in like Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 2? I
No.
don't think so, right?
It did not. No.
So this
and
was like the only game where it truly ended
Black
the game.
Ops 2 didn't give you a nuke kill streak. It just gave you a nuclear medal. So
Oh,
like
that's right. That's
that
right.
would
Yeah,
pop
that
up
was
on the
lame.
screen. Yeah. I mean,
Fucking lame.
I think I think it's a little different because I think they started to make the games more like competitive then, or at least tried to.
Yeah.
Apparently,
think
I'm not
that's-
remembering right either. It's 25 kills for the nuke.
Yeah.
It is. Oh.
Based. Also, this game, with your kill streak kills, like, so if your Harrier got kills, it would count towards your chopper gunner. If your chopper gunner got kills, it would count towards your nuke. So, kill streaks, you could just roll them into each other, and that's how most people would get nukes,
Yeah.
usually.
Oh, and shout out to one of the most controversial mechanics of all time, but death streaks as well.
Oh yeah.
I know those are not looked upon fondly, but I always thought they were kind of cool. I mean, they really didn't do much. They were just kind of annoying to deal with, but I kind of
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. I liked it. You know, as a mechanic, I feel like it has
could
a
have been done
place.
better.
Like if you're dying a lot in a row, and the reason they did it was because of like one-sided matches in like domination, right? Or like large team battle kind of maps where you die over and over and over, and it gives you a chance to like do something else, which on the winning team could be annoying because you could lose your kill streak. But I think that's just the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah, and I almost think, to me, it always added an extra mechanic. So they had the same system in NW3, but I think it projected well over to this game. Is like, at some point, if you were dominating the enemy team, I would start, like, if I would get a kill, as soon as I, like, knew I got the kill, I would actually aim down at the ground in case they had, like, final stand, right? Because you knew they were losing so badly that, like, their death streaks were probably going to start popping. And so, like, to me, I never really had much interaction with the death streaks. Or, like, I knew if we were dominating, like, I knew they would probably drop a martyrdom grenade. And I just wouldn't, like, run immediately over their body like a goober. So, you know, I always thought, like, people bitching about it really just didn't play around it well enough. And just kind of soyed out about it.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too, is like they took a lot of the annoying perks like martyrdom and put it as a death streak, which I think is fair. That's where it should be,
I prefer that, yeah.
instead of having it every time, you know.
And it's cancer.
Yeah.
Copycat is one that I forgot about, by the way. I just have to mention it, where you copy your killer's class. That's just funny. I don't know why you would do that, but you know.
I think
Well,
that actually
okay,
helped.
so
I
that
think
was
that
meant-
helped like lower level
Yeah,
players to get like
exactly.
classes that actually had
'cause
attachments.
It's the first one.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what it was meant for.
Yeah.
If you're playing a game and someone who's, I think, did it go to level 55 before Prestige?
Yeah.
I think-
50?
Well, I think this. So I think in COD 4 and World at War it was to 55, and then this game changed it to where it went up to 70.
70. Okay.
And then
you
Modern
might be
Warfare
right,
3 was
70.
level 80,
Sure.
I believe.
Well, whatever it was, if you have someone at that level
How dare you not remember?
and you're like, okay,
55.
I have that autistic memory.
Oh, wait, no. 70. Yeah, you go up to 70 in this one.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but if you have
10
someone at that high
levels of
level
prestige.
and they have all the fucking good guns and the attachments,
5 prestige
And the
slots.
pro player
and you're
person,
level
yeah.
15, yeah,
Yeah.
like it's cool being able to take their class and go with it. Sure.
Sure.
And if it's a gun that you've never used before, it's not like it gives you an quote unquote like theoretical advantage, but it is kind of nice.
Oh, also they had some weird game modes in this one, and they brought it for MW3, which is where I experienced it. But like third person team deathmatch, third person hardcore team deathmatch. I liked
I
those
forgot
modes
that.
just as
Yeah.
like a little meme to like distract you. And
It also
be
had
like, hey,
cage match,
do
which was
something
cool.
cool. I don't remember what that was.
That was the
I'll be
1v1.
real with
1v1, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It was first to 20 kills, 1v1. People would use it for boosting, where they'd get attack insert, and they would just use it for camo boosting. And if you were dumb,
Of course.
you would let someone, they'd be like, oh, let me kill you 19 times in a row, and then you can kill me 20 times. And if you let someone kill you 19 times in a row, they would just kill you and end the game. Right.
Yeah.
So if you were to do
Yeah.
that, you'd have to go
Yeah.
back and forth, because
Yeah.
exactly.
Is this the? I think this is the game also that had. It was like 3-team mercenary, where it was 3v3v3 on like deathmatch. I think it was TDM, co-confirmed, and domination. I think were the 3 modes
That's
that they.
that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
I-
fun. I like that.
I always miss the like multiple team modes they had in COD. 'Cause
It's
they brought
cool.
it back for Black Ops 2, I think. was the
But
other one that had
like
that,
I've said, you always have to be careful with too many game modes.
Yeah, you're fractured.
Yeah.
Especially if you have all these game modes and then you have half of them that are in core and hardcore, right?
Mhm.
Because you can really drive off the community in a year when you only have 40 people playing one game mode.
It's sort of like that idea of like if you have 3 ice cream flavors versus 50. Like if you're tasked with picking out of 50, a lot of people just quit and they're like, nope.
Yep.
Whereas like if you have 3, it's a lot easier. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Boys,
that's how it is.
I think we're forgetting a very important aspect. Spec Ops.
Oh, and
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Spec Ops.
The co-op mode.
and
another
the
person.
museum.
The museum, yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Spec
The
Ops was
museum-
cool. I mean, it was cool. It was the first Call of Duty that added, well, unless you're counting zombies, that added like true like multiplayer PvE, right? Like, because zombies you could count as PvE, but it's different, right? Like, it's hordes endless. There's no winning.
Honestly,
really.
yeah, and you can
I
just
mean,
walk.
except
You
for
can walk
certain
from the
areas,
hordes.
but- yeah.
Like they're not like a.
And
I've
the
always felt
Spec
like
Ops was
zombies
cool.
were never like an active threat.
And
as
Spec
much.
Ops wasn't always just like a straightforward mission. They had different things like, you know, snowmobile, like getting on top of the restaurant, like it's like a McDonald's or, you know, the equivalent. You get on there and you're like pulling up predator missiles and like blowing up like the people trying to come to your host. There's a lot of cool things.
You're like,
and,
you can't take my free Wi-Fi.
and it was fun.
You son of a
You know,
bitch.
I definitely,
Yeah.
I remember doing that and enjoying it.
Yeah, I think we played a little bit of it. I've always been very fond.
Yeah.
Especially with Kirby and I being brothers. Like, this is a mode that is very like close to our heart because, you know, it was like, well, what do we want to play? Not fucking multiplayer again. Let's do, you know, Spec Ops and go for a good time. Or whatever.
Museum.
Yeah, because we were split screeners at the time. My favorite was running through the museum with different weapons.
The museum
you had the entire arsenal.
It was so cool. It was the, like, essentially Infinity Ward's attempt at zombies. And, man, it was so cool. Just going in there and seeing how long you could live. I loved it. Anyways, let's move on to Black Ops.
Black Oops. Yeah,
Man,
baby.
what a
This will
cool
get faster.
freaking game.
Yes.
Man. Like, I remember Black Ops came out and I was I was a freshman in high school when this game came out, and
Yes.
it was freaking cool. Like,
Dude.
I loved it. I loved the game engine already that Treyarch had been working on, but just from the moment you first put the disc in, loaded it up, and you have the Russian
Dark
lady with
Fiend.
this cigarette, you know,
Yes.
she's like, and then she starts counting down for the rocket launch. It's cool, man. They like really
Yes.
thematically play it well, and the first thing you see after that is you're strapped down to a chair, and you can look
Yes.
around. It's not just a menu screen like it's always been. It's a 3D environment, and you can look around and you see people, and they're talking about you and looking at you and saying things. And some people probably realized that they could break out of the chair, you know, in the beginning. Not everyone did.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's all sorts of cool things you could do. And so if you're like
Easter eggs
me,
in the main
I
menu.
always went straight to the single player to go through the story. And I loved it, to be
Oh,
honest.
I think
my-
the best.
My favorite was you could break out of the chair, and then if you went over to this computer, you would type in Dead Ops Arcade,
Yep.
or I
and
think
you
Dead
go
Ops,
into the
and you
Dead
would
Ops
get,
zombie one.
yeah, you would unlock the ability to play Dead Ops Arcade from the zombies menu, which I always thought was
Yeah.
cool. I think at some point they patched it to where you didn't have to do that, and you just get it
They did.
Dead Ops
Yeah.
already, which I thought was kind of dumb.
Well,
but
I mean,
I guess it makes sense.
they did that after the game had been out for a while, right? Like,
yeah.
just so, because, like, how long are people going to remember that?
That was like a sunset feature. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, fuck it. Like,
Exactly. But the game was freaking cool. It took what World at War was, and it brought it to something like
a Cold War game, by the way. You
Finished.
never see Cold War games.
no, and that was the other cool thing.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
they
the
did all this
setting.
cool stuff. The guns were cool. The maps were cool. They were interactive. There was things going on in the maps. It was the right time, the right place to be in Call of Duty. You could choose and make your custom reticles.
This is where we got
You could
in.
make your own emblem.
Yeah.
You could do everything that was new in the game, and it wasn't just all this preset. They were like, hey, let's go into customization. You're no longer just choosing a camo for a gun. You're now building a gun, right?
And this was like the first COD game where me and Meta actually played, like, out of the Golden Age, that we actually played, like, within a decent time of it coming out. We played a year afterwards, so it wasn't really hacked. So we did get a little bit of experience with the multiplayer.
We did.
But it wasn't a
we got to
ton.
max rank and everything.
I think we got to
Yeah.
55.
And another thing in the game was this was the first game that had gold weapon skins.
Ooh,
for every gun.
beautiful gold too.
For every gun.
The best gold.
I think the first gold
love
weapon
the gold.
was COD 4. I think they had like one gun in each class you could get gold at max level. But
Yes. Yeah.
like Black Ops, it became gold, and like with their engine, I loved it, man. I loved the way it looked. I love the sound of the game. I love the feel of it. It was a grungy, like gritty game, and it felt the part, right? Did and then
everything you did, you felt the part. I mean, like we were talking about. As soon as you open it, it's like, oh, I see what we're doing.
yeah,
Like,
and I truly love the game. You know, like where you look at the thing picked up in each game. Like COD 4 is like the modern template for what's going to happen. Then World at War introduces zombies. Modern Warfare introduces like their kill streaks and like quick scoping meta, like the newer age of like memeing, if you will. And like Black Ops came with like
you still had quick
It's-
scoping. And
They
all
gutted.
that.
No, but they gutted the quick scoping.
yeah,
They
quick
did, but you
quick
could still
scoping
do
was not.
It was hard to do at
It
the
was
start,
hard.
but they buffed it a little bit and it became a lot better. But still
Well,
not
Kirby
as
and I
good.
figured it out. But
Yeah.
it,
I mean,
it wasn't
but
as
like
easy, I'm sure.
this game just it was right, like in my opinion, if you're gonna say like the best true age of COD was MW2 Black Ops in like that order of if you played, and I know you I don't think you two agree with this, but if you'd been playing from 4, by the time you're at Black Ops 2, like Black Ops 2 is already the third installment in the like Treyarch franchise following the same formula, right? And that's why by
Yeah.
Ghost people were like, well, Call of Duty is just like the stamp game. They just sit there and they make the same game over and over and over and over and over and over and
And that's
over
what made
again,
him
right?
go wild with
Yeah.
the
But MW2 and Black Ops were like, hey, here are these 2 test games, and then this is how they brought them into a new world. And like really, like you can't say perfected, but they brought them
Yeah.
somewhere that was
I
like
don't know.
it's near perfect for the time
For
it came
like
out.
multiplayer
near
games
perfect,
at that
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man, I love Black Ops. Like
I don't think you can beat them. Like for
No.
especially they were at the top of the pile and they deserved it.
yeah, when MW2 came out, dude, that was the only game I played. When Black Ops came out, I just moved over to that game. And
Oh yeah.
it was the same thing. It was the only game I played. I love the mechanics. I love the maps. And I really liked just to feel the game. Like it, and especially the Black Ops, like you said, Cold War. It was true.
So
if you-
unique.
It was,
Like-
and it is still today fairly unique, right?
There are like no other Cold War games that like immediately come to mind. That are shooters at least.
Is Vanguard not Cold War?
No,
No.
Black Ops Cold War in 2020, but that was the
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cold War. That's what I was thinking.
yeah.
No.
But
See,
that's
but
just
I
like
wasn't
rehashing
playing.
this.
I wasn't
Well-
playing Call of Duty then. It's
Well,
Too
Black
new.
Ops Cold War is set in between this and Black Ops 2. That's
Ugh, yeah.
supposedly.
but
I don't,
regardless,
I don't count that game.
it was a
as canon.
freaking good game, and they took the formula for zombies. Like I said, they took the formula for everything.
My
in
favorite
World at War,
zombies of all
and
time.
And they just expanded
Built on
it.
it.
It was
Yeah.
nice.
And,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's 2024, and when's the last time we played Black Ops Zombies?
Yeah, true.
Recently.
Yeah.
a week ago. Yeah.
Week ago, yeah.
It's a good game, and it holds up.
Yep. Oh, it feels like, and if you go back and play it, I don't want to say it feels modern because they've changed the engine so much, but it feels like at the time it felt so smooth. This is like whenever I think of that classic term of like COD smooth, this is the game I think of. Because like a lot of shooters were like a little janky or they felt a little off, but a game like this really did embody like that COD smooth like feel, and it's
Well,
kind of hard to describe, but I think
So-
this game was like the one.
And
I
I think my favorite part of this is like, or the game feel was, I felt like it didn't feel like you were moving through molasses, but you had weight to your
Yeah,
character,
I
and
was
as
gonna
well,
say-
what also helped is like the sound design, and I liked how
Ooh, the sounds
depending
are so
on
good in this
depending on if you were stepping on grass or if you're stepping on wood or concrete, it would make different sounds. So you knew like where your enemy was if they made footsteps, and also
did it not
just
do
you could
that
hear
in
yourself.
previous games?
I enjoyed that a lot. I think it did, but this game is a lot more noticeable with it.
This game was noticeable. Like the sound design was there, but I'd have to agree with you.
1911 is burned in my head.
Well, I have
Oh,
to agree.
yeah.
Or
Exposed.
exposed. No. Cut it out. Cut it out.
Everyone already knows. That's
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say
Meta's exposed me before. It's okay.
rip. I have to agree with Kirby though that in Black Ops you have weight, right? And to me, it doesn't feel smooth so much. In a way, like it does feel like it takes time to move your character, but I like that. Like I like the way it feels, and then it's not just running around, flying through a map, right? Like, because I think that's kind of ruined games. So like, I have to run, I have to vault over
I
everything
gotta
and
slide.
climb
I
down
gotta
walls.
fucking.
This game, they're like, you get a fucking dolphin dive, and if you dolphin dive
Which
more than
stops your
10 feet,
momentum.
you die. You know, it's like,
I forgot about the dolphin.
And
dive.
how can you forget
I-
about the dolphin dive? Like that's
No, it's iconic,
Uh.
but I always forget it's in this one. I know it's in Black Ops 2, but I always forget it's in Black
Yeah.
Ops 1.
the dolphin dive. On you know,
Also, this is the first
forget.
game with the ballistic knives and crossbows,
Yes.
Mhm.
as well as Dragon's
As-
Breath
and
in the
gun game.
campaign. That was cool.
they added in
Gun
multiplayer
game, yes.
different types
Oh,
of
yeah.
games you could do, right? Like so, gun game, and what was the other one?
One in the chamber.
One in the chamber. Yeah,
Sticks and Stones.
freaking awesome. Yeah, cool
Sticks and
game modes that were like,
Yeah.
I want to have a fun time and just goof
Oh,
around.
Wager
And my
I
favorite,
forgot about-
my favorite,
Wager
was
match, yeah.
Sharpshooter.
The party
Yeah.
modes were wager matches. So in this game, you would in the multiplayer you would play and you would get COD points. Now these aren't the COD points that we have nowadays where you buy them. These
I
are
wish.
the actual good kinds
Yeah.
where you just get them by playing, and then you could go into a wager match and you could wager your points, and if you won you would get like, triple the amount that you wagered. If you lost, you would like, lose all of it. So it was kind of
It was cool. I liked it.
the game modes actually had stakes, but they were still like party game modes, which I always thought was
And
that was
actually,
interesting.
you're right. Is this the first game you had to buy? You had like points that you bought upgrades with, right?
yeah, you would like buy guns
And that's what the
attachments
wager-
and
yeah.
perks.
Yeah. It was, maybe that was like the horrible precursor to like in-game currency.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it was like a glimpse into the future, but I don't know. Like to me, Black Ops, phenomenal game.
Something else too that I credit this game for, and this is a little more nitty gritty, but the guns. I always felt like every gun in this game served a purpose. Like in multiplayer, they all had like a strength. Like I think everyone remembers the FAMAS as like not being able to keep a mag in it for more than like a second because of how fast it shot, or like the Commando for just being like the overall balanced gun, or even like some of the pistols like the 1911. Every gun felt so unique in this game that
Yeah. Well,
that's what I remember like the most of like just how good each gun felt and how different they all felt.
it was cool. Like they all sounded good and they all looked unique. You didn't have a lot of like copycat looking guns. You had like these SMGs, like the PSPM9 or whatever it is, or PK9. I don't know.
PM 63 is what I'm thinking, right?
probably. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the one you can like dual wield. And
They renamed all the guns to not like step on copyright. I remember that. So.
But whatever. You look at all these things as like they were all cool. There was unique guns, and
MPL.
They were just fun, man. Like you didn't have like the copycat formula. It was in like I think that's why it stands out to me is like everything was cool. It was unique in the game. Like and especially in contrast to everything before it, almost every aspect of this game stood out in some way that was unique on its own.
Yes, yeah. And like I mean, I guess to add to that real quick, like the snipers I think had a lot of variation. You had like the Dragunov, the WAC 2000, the Arctic rifle, and then the PSG. So much variety just there, and then like obviously the shotguns. I don't know, everything in this game, it felt right. And you still had some goofy aspects. I remember my favorite class was to do like a ballistic knife or a crossbow with like 2 tomahawks, and then you would run like some joke primary or whatever that you probably weren't going to use, like a shotgun or something.
Yeah.
And like there was still fun to be had and like goofing around too, even though the game was like trying to be super super serious.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I said. Like everyone loved it, and the game wasn't like that serious. Like in the campaign, I mean, you do a whole mission where you're going, and like anyone who plays the campaign remembers this mission. You're going down the river on the boat with the turret, and you're like shooting all that crap, and what's playing in the background is Sympathy for the Devil, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, dude, I love that mission. It was cool. Or like the missions where you're like crawling through the Viet Cong tunnels. There's a lot of cool things. Just good stuff.
Yeah.
The minecart mission is like obviously I think the most iconic mission ever.
Breaking out of the compound.
Is that
right?
Reznov that you're pushing with? Yeah, that's Reznov, right?
I always remember the mission where you go into the Pentagon, like the.
Oh.
It's more of like a cutscene mission. It's not really like one where you actually are playing or.
Well.
You just
and Modern Warfare 2 had no Russian, right? So like.
Yeah.
You definitely had like. I think this game had more like iconic missions, but I think in COD this was like peak story.
Well, yeah, and no, okay. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 had a phenomenal story.
It did, but so did this game.
Yeah, I think, but I'm saying like I think they're different aspects of storytelling, right? Whereas like Modern Warfare 2 is a like middle ground story. Black Ops is the beginning of a new story, right? Because obviously like MW2 you follow through, you have MW3, and then new COD, which is not connected I guess, but yeah.
The
like
reboot.
Exactly, like Black Ops. I don't think it's been that serious, but like it was mature if nothing else.
Yes.
And then
Kirby.
Huh?
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, continue.
Oh, I was gonna ask. I guess I was gonna start with Kirby and then ask you, Zainiac. Favorite zombies map from this game. I'll just throw mine in the ring. I'm gonna go with Shangri-La. I love Shangri-La. But yeah, that's. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. Let me see. So you had Kino, Moon, Ascension, Shang, and
Dead
Call of the
Ops
Dead.
5.
At least for the original.
And then you also had the World of War maps,
The
but
remakes, but those are.
Well,
from
we're
World
not
of
counting
War.
that yet.
Yeah. I think Call of the Dead for me, like the older I get, I really like that map mainly because it's a snow map, and we haven't. I mean, we've seen a couple of snow maps in Zombies, but I feel like that's like the most iconic one. And
with,
in my opinion,
what's
the
his
best.
face, Romero.
George
basically.
Romero did Rip George Romero.
I'll say this. In my opinion, like, I know Kino gets a lot of hate, and I think that's just because it is the default map.
Yeah.
I
mean,
truly
everyone's
like
played
it.
Kino so
It's
much.
it's such a like just simple map, and like I think there's elegance and simplicity, and like I like it. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to go and do some like magic formula to unlock something or to like go to a special mode. It's like, hey, if you can just maneuver well and basically walk around the map, you can continue on for a long time. And so like I think it gets a lot of hate, but I really like it a lot. It'd either be that or Ascension, because Ascension is just fun.
Ascension.
It gets a lot of
Ascension's
hate.
also pretty simple too. It's not like super complex.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like doing like Easter eggs and like all
yeah.
that stuff, or
Well, the Easter
even
eggs weren't mandatory in this game, which is nice. They kind of were in the newer one.
yeah. Anyways, let's.
Yeah.
We should probably move on to MW3.
Yeah, we should probably skedaddle. Kino felt like a World at War map, which I did like.
Well,
it was very simple. Very simple.
So the reason it actually feels like that is because it was actually supposed to be DLC 4 for World at War, and then Activision, I don't think they like didn't allow them to release DLC 4 for World at War, so it became the map that was on disc for Black Ops 1. But yeah, no, Kino does get way too much unnecessary hate. I saw this one YouTuber who put it like in F tier, and I was like, bro, all right, now you're coping.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's been a generalization of Call of Duty. Or, you know, you look at younger people coming in and playing games now, and they're used to the COD of they came in, you know, around Ghosts, or maybe at like Black Ops 2 or MW3. And so for them, they're used to like all these things you can do, and a million things, a million customizations, an armory where you build your weapon, blah 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 blah.
1,000 attachments on one.
Yeah,
gun.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like if you can't customize everything, it's not a good game, right? Like, and if the zombies doesn't have every feature that I've ever seen, it can't be good.
Garbage.
And I think that's a lot of the mindset that people who would like loop that kind of like a map like that, they say like, well, it's a bad map. Is it really? Like, it's simple. It's essentially like two rings, two loops that are like combined in the center. It's a figure eight,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a big map.
Yeah.
It's not complex, but I mean, it beats the hell out of Night of the Dead.
Yeah. I mean, it beats the hell out of almost every
Yeah, but regardless,
every map after it. But yeah,
yeah, you know, moving on to like MW.
moving on, baby.
Moving on.
We got some time to make. I think it'll get a little faster here because, you know, these are kind of rehashings of the two best CODs I think ever made. These are just kind of like remakings.
Yeah, and
So-
like you look at MW3, and it really is MW2 plus, right?
Yeah,
I would
this
say
is the
it's
one
like-
that we were addicted to.
I would say it's like MW2 refined, because I think it's a lot more balanced, and that's why I enjoy it a little more than the original Modern Warfare 2, because I liked how
Well,
I don't know. I just like games that are better balanced.
it's the third installment.
Where it's
I
just
don't know if I
complete
consider
cluster.
it necessarily balanced, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely in a.
I mean,
playable
relative
state.
to Modern Warfare 2. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like with the kill streak nonsense and all
And
that.
the noob tubes. Yeah.
Yeah, the grenades
Yeah.
weren't as good. Martyrdom was like way more nerfed in this one.
Was
Yeah.
Martyrdom in the game?
It was a
It
death
was
streak,
it was a death
I
streak,
believe.
like it
Oh,
was
okay.
in 2.
Mhm.
Or yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
only thing that was annoying was in this one, one of the death streaks was called Dead Man's Hand, and you would drop to the ground and you could.
So annoying.
You had a C4 on you, but the thing was the C4 had
So
like
AIDS.
the radius of a cruise missile. Like it was, it was insane.
It was so stupid. And you
But
could
it
double
was kind of
press
fun.
XX at the time to like not pull out the detonator, and it would just immediately explode instead.
Yeah, you could like.
Which is something
explode it as soon as
crazy
you-
that they never explain to you. You can just throw it out and then just have it immediately explode. I'm like, bro. Yeah. What would it be? I get heated about that because I got so pissed off. I just put it on all my classes and like used it like for the rest of the year until Black Ops 2 came out.
But
So
was there
Modern
anything
Warfare
like
3,
new?
like campaign wise?
Campaign?
This is like the first game where I think they really went like Michael Bay with the stuff. Like it
Yeah.
was, the
Oh,
campaign
yeah.
was like
I remember that.
explosions.
It
and
starts out with like
trains and
a nuke. Is that it, or
Train
does
goes
it end
boom.
with a nuke? Like, there's a nuke that goes off in the campaign, right? Like,
that
somewhere.
was Modern Warfare 1, right? The one where you're in the helicopter, the nuke goes off and the helicopter spins out.
it does do something different. I'll wait.
That's Modern Warfare 2. Or I'm sorry, Modern Warfare 1.
I'll wait.
I don't know, man. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. What are you gonna say, Meta?
So I think too. I think we've summarized everything in this game. There's not too much else to say. It had Spec Ops. It had everything else. But I think to Kirby and I, the mode that we loved the most, we would go between zombies and this game's survival mode. And I still open it up on my PC and play it to this day. The MW3 survival mode has never returned in like this form. They tried to like pass it off in the recent 2019 Modern Warfare, and it was bullshit. Not the same. It wasn't like round based. This is like zombies if instead of zombies there were soldiers trying to shoot you. And one of my favorite like COD modes of all time is this. I like it more than zombies, to be quite frank. I love this mode.
Mm-hmm. And I also liked how it used all of the multiplayer maps for the survival mode. And there was like an introductory, beginner maps, then there was kind of like intermediate, advanced, and then expert. So you got like different levels of difficulty. And there was like 4 maps in each category, and I was just liked how it was organized. And I don't know. It's a great mode. Survival mode never came back. I think they tried it in Ghost, but they changed too much and it was different. So, yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, there's not too much talk about. It was basically just MW2 again.
Yeah, I mean, nothing sticks
oh,
out to me.
This was also the first game that had the infected game mode. Now I remember.
Oh, that is true. That was fun.
In multiplayer, which was just it was another party game mode. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a hot take. This is my like favorite COD overall. But yeah.
Black Ops 2?
No, Black Ops 3 or Modern Warfare 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love Modern Warfare 3.
I don't know, man. I liked Black Ops 2 a lot.
Black Ops 2. Let's go.
I like MW3 is my second favorite.
Now, okay, you're wrong, but no, no,
I think we're getting. Oh man, I forgot we said we were gonna rank them after this too. You boys got your list ready?
Yeah.
Well, I guess since we're off the rails, I guess we'll get into it and finish this up. Black Ops 2. It's a solid game. I think whenever I think of this game, I think of the same thing. It's basically a refinement of Black Ops, even though the setting is futuristic. In that, even for zombies, they bring back old maps, and it feels smoother. The multiplayer is basically the same, like the same. There's it's just a lot of quality of life upgrades, and then of course, it's I felt like it had one of the better stories as well as far as like CODs are concerned. Definitely a little bit more Michael Bay-esque when comparing it to the first one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just to get us going, baby.
Yeah, iconic moments in the campaign. This is also the first time in a Call of Duty campaign where, depending on the choices that you made along the way, you would get a different ending at the end. And on my first playthrough, I got like the basic one where you can kill Raul or save him, and I just killed him because I was like, whatever. But that adds like a level of replayability to the campaign that we haven't. I don't think we've seen that since Black Ops 2.
Classes you could pick too in the campaign, right? You can pick your guns.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know. Pretty cool game. Whenever I think of this game, I always think of the multiplayer though first.
Oh,
And
addictive.
Yeah.
The maps
sure.
are great. A lot of them were 3-lane. A lot of them were a little bit too symmetrical, but I think it just works for an arena shooter like Call of Duty.
Any hot takes, Zainiac? Anything spicy about this game, or?
Bring back the KSG with the slug. That's all I'll say.
Yo,
That was
basic.
That was like Meta's favorite weapon for like 3 months.
Dude, it was so good.
Damn right.
It was like a
so
one-hit kill.
satisfying.
And yeah, it sounded good, and it was like
It was
a
like
one-hit chest
ka-chunk.
kill.
My
Yes.
favorite weapon was the Executioner because it was a revolver, and at first I
That
thought
was
it
so
was
cool.
I thought it was
I
a
have a hot
regular
take.
one, and then I realized it was a shotgun, and I was like, "Yo, that's so cool."
This is the first game that included DLC that was like exclusive and
Yes.
gave you a benefit. They made the gun on the DLC significantly better so that you were the Peacekeeper, so that you were inclined to buy it. And this was also was MW3 or this one the time at which the rights switched over so that like DLC would come out first for the PlayStation? Because it used to always come. You guys probably don't remember this.
It was
but
Xbox. No, we remember. It was Xbox. PlayStation started getting it
That was
in
later.
Black Ops 3.
Okay,
That was
with
whenever
three.
they switched
Okay.
over. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you remember that, right?
Mhm,
Oh,
we
yeah.
did,
The
yeah.
Peacekeeper
Oh,
came
yeah.
out, and
It was
Guess
really
what?
good.
everyone used it because it was the best gun in the game. And this is where they started, in my opinion, because I don't think before DLC never included weapons.
Yes, I
This-
was not a fan of it.
That
having
was the
weapons.
first
Yeah,
DLC
this was-
where you could
this was
buy
funny.
a better weapon, and that was messed up.
Me and Meta, we have a story about this. Me and Meta, we
Dude, I
got
was thinking of this.
we got the second. Well, we got the season pass, but the second DLC comes out, and we're super excited. The Peacekeeper is the new weapon, and we get on, and me and Meta, we play split screen. So for some reason, Meta, whenever he edits his class, he has the Peacekeeper because he's the one who bought the DLC, but I don't because I don't own the DLC, even though we're playing on the same console. So eventually they patched it, and I think they also nerfed the Peacekeeper after like 2 or 3 weeks to make it more in line with the regular guns in the game. But yeah, that was kind of an interesting little tidbit.
Oh,
Also, I remember this game, Meta would prestige, and he never got the tokens whenever he prestiged.
I never
and
got
I
my
would.
prestige rewards ever. I don't know what was up with that. So I only prestiged twice because I got so pissed off. Something about this game that I love, and this is the first COD where pistols are on the level of primaries. And I love that because I would do pistol-only classes. The first gun I got gold in this game was the TAC-45. And, like, all of them, the CAT-40, the Executioner, the B-23R, TAC-45, 5.7, all of them could compete all of them could compete with any of the primaries in the game. And honestly, I like whenever COD is balanced that way. It was just really satisfying, and of course the pick 10 system in this game I think is probably the best class system ever in any COD, like to this day.
And the reason they had to make the secondaries in line with the primaries is because of the pick 10 system, because a primary is 1 point and a secondary is 1 point, so they have to make them equal. And I've always enjoyed the pick 10 system, even in games that come after Black Ops 2. It's by far the best class system. I think we need to see it again, but we probably never will. But yeah, I just liked how it gave you a choice that you had to make. You had to sacrifice something to gain. If you wanted 2 stuns, you might have to get rid of your reticle on your gun, or if you wanted 3 attachments, you would have to have a wild card. Right? There was choices that you had to make,
which cost you like 2 points if you think about it, because you had to pay for the wild card and for the attachment. So there was also like built-in stopgaps of like, if you wanted to pistol only but you want a riot shield, that's another point. If you want like double stuns, that's like extra 2 points, because you have to pay for the extra, what is it, wild card and the stun. So like, I don't know, it introduced scarcity in classes again, and so there just wasn't so much excess, and you had to really like dilute down what you wanted to do with each class.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
Solid
all
game.
good games, though.
Of course. I mean, they're all good in their own way.
Also, for Black Ops 2 with the zombies, this was the game where they started making it all complex and stuff.
Oh, I
but this
know.
was like the
So
start
sad.
of it. I think this was the start of it where it wasn't like insanely complex. It was kind of like dipping it. At least the only map that I would say really got too complex was Origins.
Yeah.
But the other maps that were in the game were like complex enough to where if you knew what you were doing, you could do them.
You didn't
But
need
like
a guide.
you didn't. I think you needed a guide, but like you didn't have to have a guide to at least play them.
I think you could figure it out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Maybe not, because it was mostly just like building things on benches.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
Like just going over to the right spot on the map and seeing like an interact prompt. But maybe that's just a hot take. I don't know. Maybe you did need a guide. I was like 12, so no. I think I was definitely older than that, right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
We were 16.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah.
Good
games. I mean, all of them. All of them
great games.
All of them
No,
good
they're all
games.
trash.
Better to play at launch. But and
Everyone knows
this is why
Warzone's best. No, I'm just
what so like for example, what's your favorite out of all of these here, both of you?
Mine's Black Ops 2.
Okay.
Mine is gonna be MW3.
Okay. Mine's Black Ops. And
Yeah, see?
for the reason of Black Ops was the first game that I really played multiplayer all the way entirely with like my friends, like people that I knew, and then I'd get online, then I'd call them, I'd be like, hey, get on, because MW2 I played it with
Xbox Live, baby.
I played it with a few friends that I knew, but the majority of the people I played it with were just random people that I'd matchmake with online, right? And everyone had a mic, to be fair, and at that time there was no like party chats for search and destroy, which is what I played in MW2, so I could always talk to people, and they did. But Black Ops is where it became less of me just playing games online and me playing games with friends. So
Yeah.
that's why, like,
that
to
makes
me,
a huge
that was
difference.
my favorite. So like that's where it
everyone was
sticks in my
playing
mind.
COD at that time too.
Exactly.
I remember in school it was like even like the girls, which to me I thought was crazy at the time, but even a lot of the girls played COD at the time, and I was like, damn, everyone plays COD, dude. What is this? Damn.
Yeah, for me, even being like, I would think I was 11 at that time, and everyone in intermediate school and middle school, they all played either COD or Minecraft. That was it. That was like all that was like discussed.
We love Fortnite.
Dude, Minecraft, the original Fortnite. Yeah.
COD might be the original Fortnite if you think about it. Do we? I guess we could give a real quick ranking of 1 through 6. I don't know if anyone really cares, but I'm gonna go probably MW3, Black Ops 2. Then I'll probably go. Gosh, I just didn't play much Modern Warfare 2, so I'd probably go World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and COD 4.
Base. Yeah, my list is definitely a lot different. It's Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, Modern Warfare 1, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, and then World at War.
Okay. Interesting. For me, like a lot of it has to do with just general enjoyment, not what I think is necessarily a better or more complete game. So for me, it's Black Ops, and then Modern Warfare 3, then Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, World at War, and Modern Warfare.
There you go. Well, ladies, gents,
Germs.
yes, and
Freaks.
Gooners.
freaks, test tube babies. No. Thank you all for listening in to this long and I think pretty detailed episode. I'm surprised
Wow.
we got a whole hour and almost 40 minutes
Yeah.
for the golden age of COD. This was on our list to do for a while, and we finally did it with special guest Zainiac, of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we'll see you next week for another enthralling episode.
Yeah. Y'all have a
Peace.
good night or day.
Thank
Peace.
you. Y'all take care.
As the great Blade used to say, peace and butt grease.
Shut the fuck up.
You should leave that in.